And welcome to the Divorce Literacy Interview Series. Today, my guest is Miss Yvonne Shoff. She is an attorney, mediator, a collaborative counsel, and she's the owner of Connecticut Divorce Mediation. Welcome, Yvonne. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mark, for having me. I look forward to the opportunity to, get to know your listeners, maybe, give them some options as it relates to the divorce process.
Excellent. I love it.
So thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Anything that you would like to share about your business and who Yvonne Shoff is and share with our listeners a little bit more than what I said?
Sure. I am a trained mediator, and ever since 2004, when Connecticut sort of embarked on this new adventure called mediation and collaboration, a whole bunch of us divorce professionals really looked at other states and thought, hey, can we do a better job serving the divorcing families, community? And we thought, wouldn't it be nice if divorce had less of an impact on families, or I should say a negative impact on families? So we went through all this training and also camaraderie, as you say, amongst the, the community who does this work, to really help our families and communities, because I believe that every family that divorced peacefully really enhances the peacefulness of the whole community of the state of Connecticut, really.
Absolutely. In Connecticut, it's been a slow transition for Connecticut, has it not? To go from litigation to a more collaborative, non-adversarial divorce?
Yes, actually, there's a really good story about that that is kind of neat. So long time ago, judges were very hesitant. They're like, who are these people and are they qualified? What are they up to? And that was kind of the going thought. And now I actually had a judge come up to me and say, hey, I noticed that this is when we could go in court, or did go. He said, I noticed that your clients hug and they hug you and they look happy. He goes, is this normal? And I said, Your Honor, actually it is.
What a compliment that is, right?
It is a huge compliment to not just me,
yeah,
but really the clients who embark on this process, knowing that this may not, they go into it like, what am I up to? And they really come out with it as if they grew the garden. And now they're eating the good vegetables from this garden. And I'll, in the end, I'll talk about a story to finish up this interview about kind of a success story as it relates to divorce mediation. And again, I'm realistic. There's not always a divorce success story, but it a lot of times does happen. Healing happens in this process.
It's nice when those kind of float to the top and you see that success story. It says a lot about you and your practice and how you handle your clients, which is great. Because each divorce situation is extremely unique, correct?
Very much so. And the facts, every family has a story. Whether it's a family of 2, whether it's a family of 8, whether it's a step family, whether it's an adoptive family, whether it's, an LGBTQ plus community family, everyone's a family. And in order to, and Connecticut is very fact-based, it's not a community property state. So when we're dealing with equitable division, and any kind of best interest of the child, that's very factually determinate. So thanks for bringing that up, that it is unique.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Any advice for clients that are starting this process? Can you give them any advice as to what to look for, what to caution themselves with?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is I would say look for someone who is highly trained, and not only just trained, but ask them about their commitment to this alternative process. I've had people ask me, explain your commitment to this process. Why do you do this? Why do you think this is preferential to litigation? I am not of the I'm not that everything is appropriate for mediation or
Sure.
collaboration.
Sure.
There are some cases that this is not appropriate for. I would look for someone who's compassionate, caring, brings a certain competence, obviously. Make sure there's two things that I would like to mention about competence. One is make sure that if your mediator or collaborative professional doesn't know the answer, that they know who to turn to for the
Sure.
answer.
Yep.
Like Mark, for you, I'm not a lender. So I'm like, who knows? I point them to the correct professional. If it's a business valuation, you point them to a really good professional that can augment your services. That's one. Two, have someone who's very knowledgeable on retirement assets. Like you, I know I've seen you
Yep.
in many seminars, advanced seminars on pensions, on retirement assets. Make sure that your professional keeps up on all the latest information having to do with Connecticut law, and really is committed to learning more and honing their craft, as I would say, as far as being a neutral party. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And also making sure that they adhere to the ethics that mediators and collaborative professionals sign on to,
So
for sure.
having somebody that's well trained, that has a great team around them, um,
Mhm.
and you have good rapport with. Those are the things that I heard from you.
Absolutely.
To kind of make that experience as positive as possible.
I would say definitely you've captured that.
Yeah. Well, you said you had a memorable case that you wanted to share with us. I think that would be a great time.
Great. Awesome. So this is a recent, I just received an email from a client who, this case was not your, everyone comes in and holds hands and, oh, we know exactly what we want to do with our assets. We want this, 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 and this. And, oh, our children, we're all living in harmony. Um, Believe it or not, a lot of those clients do walk in my door. And then there are those who easily could litigate. It's any asset case, but this case happened to be a higher asset case, although the thought process is still the same.
Yeah, sure.
But they were in very high conflict, really arguing resentment, arguing over furniture, arguing over children's parenting styles, and really due to their willingness and trust of me and the mediation process, we unpacked all of those things. And it was
Wow.
a little bit of hard truths and more of a, are you willing and committed? They stayed at the table, which was amazing. And I just heard from them that not only are they co-parenting very collaboratively, they are in both the new relationships and they all have dinner together. They
Wow.
are doing so well. And they spent under, I would say, under 8,000 for their whole entire divorce. And they were thrilled that their assets, which were, again, this process is for everybody,
Yeah.
but they just happened to have a higher asset case. And all of that, under 5 million, over 5 million, that stayed in their pockets.
That's wonderful. What a wonderful story that is. Success
Yeah.
story, and that set them up for success for the rest of their lives, for their
And their
families.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their children were definitely feeling their resentment. And, again, the children sought, appropriate channels of therapy. And that's another part of this process,
Yeah.
is really pointing people to parenting specialists. If they can, if their means are, if they can afford it. And again, we want to make this process approachable, not only for high asset cases, but for everybody.
Yes. And as I grow in my profession, I see the value that this process brings to so many different families. And I just really enjoy working with the professionals in this process because you guys are just, you have such a team mentality, and it's really wonderful to see. So,
Thank you. We really
yeah.
actually there was a really cool seminar back in 2019 before COVID hit. It was I don't know if you were there, but it was a family law seminar summit basically at Quinnipiac Law. Almost all of the people that I know that have been involved in this since 2000 whatever, they were all in one place.
Wow.
And it was like all my favorite people, all my favorite professionals in one area committed to making this grief process a little bit better and take out the fear. That's
Yeah.
another thing that I think that this process does, is that it's not therapy. It will honor your grief process though with the right professional.
Right.
It's a little bit of that's what attracted me, is that it is law meets problem solving meets grief process. It's almost like a perfect meld of what I love to do.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it shows that you do. So thank you very much for
No,
everything that you
thank
do.
you.
Yeah, really. And I hope that we're able to get back to those pre-COVID events, because
I
everyone
hope so
seems like they
too.
want to stay in their little silos, and we don't necessarily have as many opportunities to get together as we used to. So hopefully that we'll get back to that point.
I hope so, because it would be really fun to meet. I just think that in person, speaking of in person or video, my practice offers both of those.
Yep.
In case people are feeling like they still don't want to come out of or can't. I
Yeah.
mean, there's, whoever doesn't have health privilege or anything else or accessibility privilege. The other thing is that our firm, just me, offers a free initial consultation to talk about the mediation process, because I also believe that this should be accessible to all. And whether you are whatever kind of family you are, I think it's important to know all of your options. And our firm and myself is committed to making this process accessible to all families.
That's a great service. Great service that you offer there. Where can somebody contact you? How can they contact you? Where can they learn more about your services and what you offer, Yvonne?
Yeah, sure. So our website is undergoing some construction, but as soon as that is up, I'm sure it'll be on, I will cast it from the mountaintops. Hello. My logo is being finished. So we're a little bit in construction, but you can always reach me at my email, which is ymarieshoff@gmail.com. That may change as well, but anyone is feel free to reach out to me, or the CCND website, or the CCDG website, of which I'm co-president of that organization. And you can go on there, and their website is fully operational, and I'm on it.
Perfect.
Both of them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Any last minute thoughts you'd like to share with people watching?
I think I've taken enough of your time, but I want to thank you, Mark, for you're doing a service by highlighting, the work that CDFAs do, mediators, collaborative professionals. I know that I've worked with you and had my clients work with you, and they often come to me as in like, there are no solutions for us to keep this house, and or buy each other out. And what I love about that is that the fear is taken away by information. So by you highlighting the possibilities, you're really giving the population of Connecticut and divorcing families of Connecticut the opportunity to have more information to lessen that fear, really.
Information is power, and that's what we're all here
For
to do, right?
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was such a pleasure talking to you. So thank you so
Likewise.
much for today. I
Yes.
really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you. We all appreciate you and look forward to working together in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right.